At a gas station, an attendant is filling up a car when suddenly, he hears fierce pounding noises coming from the trunk. He suspects the driver might have a kidnapping victim locked inside. The driver quickly turns up the music, trying to drown out the noise. Although puzzled, the young attendant doesn't press the issue. Shortly after, the fully fueled car drives deep into the mountains. The driver skillfully digs a hole and then opens the trunk. However, the person tied up inside suddenly fights back and runs away frantically. The driver just stands there watching as she disappears deep into the forest. The woman escapes into a residential neighborhood, climbing over a railing with the driver in hot pursuit. She screams desperately, hoping nearby residents will hear her. At that moment, a resident has just returned home from work. Exhausted, he sits down on his couch without turning on the lights. Suddenly, he thinks he hears cries for help. He gets up, walks to the balcony, and looks out to see a strange man grabbing a woman by her hair and assaulting her. Terrified, the resident prepares to take out his phone to call the police. Just then, the living room lights suddenly turn on. He turns to see it was his wife who switched them on. He hurriedly jumps over the sofa and immediately turns off the lights. To his horror, the killer has already spotted him. The man hides behind a potted plant, carefully observing as the murderer stares in his direction before walking away. After a few steps, the killer suddenly stops, counts the number of floors, then turns back and walks directly toward the witness's building. Inside his home, the man anxiously grabs a bat and locks the door, standing guard at the entrance to protect his family. After an agonizing 2-hour wait with no sign of movement outside, he grows increasingly uneasy. The next day, police cordon off the murder scene and search for eyewitnesses. The police chief scans the area, seeing residents gathered around. With a murder happening in the center of the neighborhood, someone must have seen something. The witness's heart races with anxiety. He can't forget the killer's eyes and constantly fears for his family's safety. Later, the police go door to door, but neighbors all claim they saw nothing. Only one middle school student mentions hearing a scream late at night. As the police prepare to question her further, the girl's mother rushes over and hurries her daughter away, breaking the potential lead. When the witness returns home, he's startled by a community worker delivering a notice. Since the murdered woman wasn't a resident, the community administration urges everyone not to make a fuss to avoid negatively impacting property values. That night, the man lies awake, composing an anonymous email to the police, yet he remains deeply conflicted, fearing the murderer might come for revenge. So, if you were this man, would you step forward and provide clues to the police? This thrilling Korean film is called The Witness.